Here's what I think is going to happen with Brock Purdy and his contract. Had he been eligible for an extension last year, I think he would have made a lot more money because timing is everything. He would have been coming off a Super Bowl appearance and an MVP finalist season. But now the Niners have seen him without Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk, and he just went 6-9 and missed the playoffs. And they still want him, apparently, but he doesn't really have much leverage here. He can't go to the negotiating table and say, I just had a great freaking season and the best is yet to come. He kind of has to say, let's be nice and forget that just happened and meet somewhere in the middle. So his resume isn't as strong as it seems. So let's look at other quarterbacks who are making big money on the surface who also don't have the deepest resume. Let's look at Jordan Love. He just lost again in the playoffs. He got a big Mondo extension last year after he lost to the Niners. And it made him technically the third highest paid player in football at $55 million a year average. But if you look at the structure of the contract, Jordan Love was a 4-year deal, $220 million, $55 million a year on average. Go on Over the Cap or Spot Track and look at the yearly breakdown. In terms of cap number, first year of the extension is $29 million. Second year, $36 million. Third year, $44 million. Fourth year, final year, where there's no guaranteed money, $75 million. So what they did, it's essentially like a 3-year, $110 million deal for Jordan Love with a phony year tacked on at the end. I mean, there is no way on God's green earth that Jordan Love is going to play with the $75 million cap number. He's either going to get another extension before that season starts, or he'll get cut, depending on what he does over the next few years. And if he keeps playing in the playoffs like he did a couple of days ago, he will get cut. So that's the structure. It's essentially, again, a 3-year, $110 million deal. They tacked on an extra year. Why? What is that fourth year for $75 million doing at the end of the contract that year that he'll never actually get? It's there for his ego, right? It's there so that he and his agent can have the headline that says $55 million a year, third highest paid player in the league. I'm great. I got paid. I got compensated. So, I mean, the Niners can do the same thing for Brock Purdy. They can give him a 3-year, $110 million deal that has reasonable wide receiver, defensive end level cap hits for the first 3 years, and then have some ridiculous, outrageous $80 million cap hit in year 4 that he'll never get. He'll either get extended or cut by then. That would seem to make sense. That's what I think the 49ers will do, and I think that's what Brock Purdy will accept. The question, though, is why do these players want that year at the end that changes the average and makes it seem like they're more expensive than they are? Like, yeah, it's good for your ego, but also it brings a whole lot more scrutiny on that player, right? Like, once Brock Purdy is making $55 million a year or more, no one's going to care that it's essentially a 3-year, $110 million deal. Every single game, people are going to say, is that what $55 million gets you? Is he really worth it? I mean, we see it with all these quarterbacks. And a guy like Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, they could do well all season, win 14 games, 15 games. If they blow it in the playoffs, no one cares what you did in the regular season. They see $55 million next to your name and a big fat L in the playoffs, and you're all of a sudden a loser and a bust who isn't worth the money. It's a lot of pressure to have to live up to that kind of hype. It's enough pressure to have to win games in the NFL or have the expectations of a Super Bowl. But on top of that, to have to prove that you're worth $55 million, how do you do that? The only way you prove you're worth that much money is to be like a multi-time MVP and a future Hall of Famer, and there's like two of those in the league. So, I don't know. That's how they'll structure it. It'll suit Brock and his agent. It'll be team friendly, but it's going to bring a lot of heat on the organization and Brock, and they can't avoid it. Sorry.